All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Samurai Brothers. And Matthew, this is going to be episode 56 of the podcast, right?
Yep.
And two big events that's happened this weekend that we'll talk about. And then next weekend, we'll get into a lot of other sports related stuff. But obviously, the Aki Basho, September Basho, is now over. And so we're going to be talking about that first. And then we'll get into the big chapter of One Piece, chapter 1161. Obviously it's going to expand on God Valley, so, and a lot of things starting to make sense with what happened in there, so we'll be talking about that in the second half of this episode. So Matthew, let's get right into it. As of day 8, um just a kind of a refresher from the last time, Onosato was 7-1, Hoshoryu was 8-0, among some other peoples. That's right, we had Takanosho and Shodai also following at 7-1. And I believe I had said that Onosato, I was sticking to my original prediction, Onosato was going to win. And I think you had, at first you had said, oh, no, wait, no, sorry. I said Hoshoryu was going to win. And I
Right.
think,
You stuck
uh,
with
yeah, I stuck with that. And I think you had been going with Onosato, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that's where we are at with that. And then, so let's hop right into it. Going into day 9, there were really no changes to the leaderboard, except that Takanosho did lose. He lost early on in the Basho, but Hoshoryu Onosato still sticking to it. And then but it was starting to look really bleak for Wakataga Kage because he was on an Ozeki run. And after day 9, he was 5-4, which means that he had to win out the rest of the Basho. Still with having to face the Ozeki and the Yokozuna. So um, just seeming like that's not going to be his Basho. Aonishiki at 7-2 chasing after day 9. Anything to add to that, Matthew, or you want me to just kind of go through all the days before we talk about the results?
Just keep going.
Okay. Day 10. Now here's where things got really interesting. Hoshoryu and Onosato both won their matches, but Shodai also lost. So now it's down to a group of 4 that are chasing the Yokozuna at 8-2. Aonishiki, Takanosho, Shodai, and Yuden. So obviously the Yokozuna leading the pack. And then Wakataga Kage's Ozeki hopes were pretty much dashed on day 10 after losing his 5th for the 5th time to Hiramaku Hiradomi. Things weren't faring much better for the other Sekiwake, Kirishima, who was hoping to start another Ozeki run of his own this Basho, but he dropped his 5th loss to Kotozakura. So
Yeah,
tough.
and I was not happy with the English commentator on
Mm-hmm.
NHK World. They have four of them. Um, Two of them who seem to be older are really good. Murray Johnson is the best,
Oh, I
and
love Murray Johnson, man.
yeah, he's really good at
And
it. Then you've got the guy who's sounds like he's younger than Murray, but is still pretty good. Then you've got Raja, who's pretty good, but there's times where it's like, what are you saying? And then there's the lighter voiced guy who I think
the
he's
Japanese guy.
yeah, and I'm
Well,
just like,
because
what are you saying? So
Ross Mihara is the Japanese American, right? And
here's a conclusion that I've come with whatever his name is. He does not have a grasp of English language context. We both know both languages enough to know that some things don't translate one way or the other. And he doesn't get what sounds good translated literally in Japanese does not translate well to English. But then also they what I forget what like whatever day it was that Watataka Kage already had 10 losses, so he's pretty much out. This guy's saying, oh, he's hoping to keep his Ozeki hopes up, and I'm like, you're an idiot.
Well,
he's out. He's mathematically out, and you're still saying like,
well, no.
I don't know if they just don't have enough commentators, or if like there's some politicking going on, but they need to fire that guy. He's just.
Yeah, but if he were to finish 10-5, he could still keep his hopes alive. So I see where he's coming from with that, because you're still maintaining a 20 match 20 win run in that case. Let me see. Yeah,
I've made my
your case
clear. What?
You made your case?
I made my case.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying
Some
to.
people just are not meant for certain types of commentating, and that guy's one of them. I know he likes to try to keep things exciting, but it's like he needs to. Like, I don't know if they just don't talk to each other or coach each other or whatever it is, but okay, well, whatever. Anyways, let's get back to the actual sumo instead of the commentating.
Okay. Well, let me see here. So if we go into, let's go into day 11. So on day 11, the Yokozuna.
This is where it starts getting interesting, right?
Yeah. The Yokozuna both maintain their lead. And then Kotozakura also gets his 8th win, so he preserves his Ozeki status without having to go Karoban. Onosato getting his win against Takayasu. So that pretty much closes the saga this time around of Takayasu's unusual run at the Komusubi rank, because that meant he was Makekoshi and therefore should be vacating the Komusubi slot.
Well, especially with events that happen over
previously,
the next days.
Yeah. And then Wakataka Kage this time is out because he lost his for the 6th time. That
wait,
pretty much.
Wait, you said we're on day 11?
Day 11, yes. Yes, that's correct. And from there, Wakataka Kage.
Okay. The things get interesting the next.
Yes, the next few days. Okay. Yeah. Wakataka Kage loses for the 6th time, so that pretty much ends his Ozeki run right then and there, because he'll need to start over. Nishiki also loses to Shodai, so for him to try and keep in the Yusho race now is it's slimming down. Who else do we have going on? Yeah, that's pretty much it. But Takanosho and Shodai are still in the leader on the leaderboard. They're chasing Hoshoryu and Onosato at this point. So then when we get into day 12, let's see if the thing will. Okay, so day 12, Hoshoryu suffers his first loss of the Basho at the hands of what is going to be, for sure, for the foreseeable future, his nemesis, Nishiki. Never fails to impress.
Yeah, well, and the funny thing is, they face each other twice. Who has won twice? Not the Yokozuna.
Not the Yokozuna. That's right. Yeah, it's to that point.
The guy who's also defeats him by very technical, non-traditional sumo moves.
Yeah. But Onosato wins his match. He beats Kirishima. And so actually
at that point, the Yokozuna are even.
They're even 11-1. And actually, Onosato, he's now 8-0 against Kirishima. So he's maintained dominance in that rivalry so far that we've seen. Wakataka Kage manages to get his 6th win, so he's 6-6, and now he's trying to fight for, preserving his Sekiwake rank at this point. Forget the Ozeki run,
Yeah.
Also, who else of note worth? Takayasu, 4-8 now, trying to see if he can't preserve his Komusugi rank, maybe with.
Kotozakura lost the match.
Yeah, he
Against
lost to Takanosho, who is still now, because Hoshoryu has
one
lost.
off.
Takanosho is one off at this point. So that makes things interesting. Anything of note worth? Not really too many people down the bottom, although Ura gets his 8th win for Kachikoshin, and I've been impressed with Ura this Basho because he's been a lot more fundamental and then traditional in his sumo.
Well, that partially has to do with the fact that he was actually, we have in the lower part of Makunouchi, we have a bunch of smaller guys. So he's facing people that he's either similar to in terms of weight and height, or actually has a bigger advantage in. So in that case, the unconventional sumo pretty much cancels out, and it just makes more sense for him to go traditional.
Yeah, because when you think about it, just to kind of go off a little bit, but we actually have quite a few small guys. I mean, you've got just kind of running.
Togi Hayate, Asakoryu.
Yeah, Asakoryu, yeah, Tobizaru, yeah, Asakoryu. And there's a few guys, and so Ura's on the upper end of that, because he's like 150 kilos now. But yeah, there's quite a few small guys. It's actually surprising how many that we have there. When I think their average weight is probably somewhere between 110 to 120 kilos. And that's not big when in terms of pro sumo.
Yeah, some of them are actually like your weight.
Maybe. So anyway, so we go now into day 13, and again, this is round 2 of, well, this is actually the first round of what's supposed to be the quartet. Usually when day 13, 14, and 15 normally has the top 4 rankers going against each other. So what do we have? Onosato beats Wakataka Kage, so now he's in trouble. However, the bigger surprise is Kotozakura upsetting Hoshoryu. And this wasn't just an upset. This was Hoshoryu had no answer for Kotozakura. Like, he just got in and he marched him out. That was quite something. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, our father said it best, is that Kotozakura actually looked like an Ozeki compared to the last few, however many Basho after his title win, where he was like average and at one point was Karoban. So he was actually, yeah, he was actually wrestling like an Ozeki, like the guy whose rank he's at.
Yeah. So Kirishima beats Shodai, which essentially knocks Shodai out of the Yusho race, because at this point, the Yokozuna are going against each other. And then
mathematically, there's just nothing.
Takanosho also is beat by Aonishiki. So there's some semblance of somehow there's still a Yusho race for the 10-3 guys in the event that Onosato loses the last 2 days. But that would also involve Hoshoryu having, losing also. So right now, Onosato's in the lead, Hoshoryu at 11-2, and then Aonishiki and Takanosho at 10-3. And then anything going down below, not really.
I do think it's interesting that at this point, Shishi is 9-4. So
yes,
he really capitalized on that Maegashira 18 gift that he was given.
Yep, definitely. So he'll definitely be staying in the top division for the next Basho.
Yeah.
Now on day 14, now this is where I looked at this, I'm thinking, what? And it's a mystery.
A few things got locked in, but others are kind of like, huh?
Yes, this was very essentially.
But we did see something at the lower end where Jurio 3 visitor Nishikifuji gets a win over Asakodyu and is 11-3. So he'll be coming back from Jurio.
Yes, and the statistic here, and this is a very important statistic, at least for certain people, because essentially Nishiki Fuji, clinching his ticket back into the Makuuchi division, preserves a streak by the prefecture of Aomori that there have been wrestlers from that prefecture going on for like 160 or 70 years in the top division, and that's an impressive streak.
That's an interesting statistic that particular prefecture would have upper division
wrestlers for that long. Because I
wonder what it is about that prefecture.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's obviously all this thing about, like
who else is from Aomori? Someone else from the upper division is currently from Aomori. It's not just Nishiki Fuji. I'm trying to remember who.
Yeah, well, actually I could look it up right now. I know Takara Fuji's from Aomori, but obviously he's down in the
Jurio.
The Jurio right now. In fact, he almost seems like he's on his way out too. But let me see here. Oh, I need to put active in. Oops.
Is it Takeru Fuji?
Oh yes, that's right, Takeru Fuji. So Takeru Fuji.
He was out. Yeah, he was out this Basho, but he was still technically on the Banzuke. So
he's on the Banzuke, but his Heiame Nishiki Fuji will be coming back up. So that's where the streak is preserved.
Right.
Again,
Wait, who was it while Takeru Fuji was who was it while Takeru Fuji was first out, and then right, Takara Fuji was still kind of up there, right?
He was still up there, yeah.
Before he went back down to Jurio.
Yep.
Okay, so that explains that. And then Takeru Fuji's been. Yeah, it is kind of interesting that prefecture specifically would have top people in the Makuuchi for that long.
Yeah, but based on this list of names I've seen, it doesn't look like anyone's gonna be up there anytime soon. Just does not seem that way. And hopefully, I mean, we'll see how Takeru Fuji's doing. Although I think he wasn't. Didn't his Oyakata say that he wasn't going to compete until January? I think
he did.
Or was it Kyushu? Maybe it was Kyushu.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would put him all the way. That would put him all the way back in Makushita.
I think Endo was the one who's out until January.
I
think that's what it was. Anyway, so to go back to so yes, this really weird thing that happened. Kotozakura pulls out on day 14, essentially giving Onosato a freebie and his 13th win.
My understanding is it was a knee injury,
and maybe he aggravated it.
Well, which is weird because he wasn't limping after that match with Hoshoryu.
Yeah,
he looked like he was just fine. He was walking normally. So
yeah, that's why I say it was a really weird thing.
I do remember that. I forgot to mention this when Aonishiki defeated Hoshoryu. They showed that picture of Onosato walking away with a smile on his face.
Yeah,
that's because
so, essentially that put. Yeah, I'm sure he was like, "Oh, I've got this," sort of thing. And that essentially put the Yusho race on the line, because if Hoshoryu were to lose on day 14,
it's
basically over. However, Hoshoryu decided to do a henka, which obviously is looked down upon when Yokozuna do it. However, I don't blame him. I don't blame him for doing that at all, based on that, hey, Onosato was handed a freebie, so for him to try and
when he was up against Wata Takakage, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, for that day 14 match. Like, see, for example, if you're in the lead and you're trying to gain uh an extended lead by use of Henka, it's like, yeah, that's a little bit, you know.
It's this funny thing with the sumo association and like this expectation of like doing certain things. It's like if it's legal for everybody, why is it looked down upon when a yokozuna does it?
Yeah.
It's this like I don't know. It's this sumo subculture, passive aggressive type thing, and it's just like why? If you think about it, it's kind of a Japanese cultural thing in general because in any type of organization, whether it be a business, whether it be sports, whether it be teaching, regardless of where it is, there's just a certain expectation that the lower guys can get away with certain behavior that the upper level people are, even though it might be legal or not against the rules or whatever it is, there's just kind of an expectation that you are
It's an
supposed to do.
unspoken rule. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like this unspoken rule, and it's just which doesn't exist in American culture. It's like
wow,
what the CEO can get away with in a company if there's no company rules against it. The entry level janitor can get away with.
Well, I'll give you one organization, the MLB, Major League Baseball. There's a lot of unspoken rules that, it's like if you break them, a lot of things can happen, in the MLB, which is a whole nother discussion for another time.
You're saying like if some high school draftee in double A or single A.
I'll give you a good example. So someone hits a home run and they decide to just watch it go off into the stands. And that's like it's supposedly disrespectful against the pitcher or whatever, It's like they're showing them up or something like that. But anyway, we'll run out of time if we get into that. So we'll move on to the final day. So what do we have? I know that just to kind of go off some of the things. So let me see here. Just to kind of give some updates here. So down in Juryo, Asahakuryu finishes, wins the Juryo Yusho with a 13-2. He was being chased by Heiyamate Asanoyama, who also had returned to Juryo. So again, there was Takasago dominance in the Juryo division. Even though Nishiki Fuji loses to be 11-4 at J3, he's high enough that he's going to be back in the Makuuchi. And then going into let me see here. So Shodai wins his match against Shishi. They both finished 10-5. Ura had actually performed really well. That he was 10-4, but he lost to Haku Oho, who gets Kachikoshi and is awarded the Shukunsho for defeating Onosato, obviously on his run to day 15, because Onosato was 13-1 at that point. So Haku Oho gets the outstanding performance award. Also, Oho.
Yeah, I was wondering what got him the outstanding performance award. So that when you explain it that way, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, wins over Yokozuna are a somewhat of a
and isn't that going to give him his career high of M1, or has he been M1 before?
I think. Good question. Let me look at it really quick. But he's depending on this.
He's not going to be Sanyaku.
This was his highest rank. But Oho also wins 10-5 at M2W. And let's get right into the Sanyaku situation. So Aonishiki is defeated by Wakamoto Haru. He finishes 11-4. However, Wakataka Kage and Kirishima both finished 6-9. So without a doubt, Aonishiki is going to be the East Sekiwake for Kyushu. Oho finishing 10-5 at M2 West, undoubtedly with the strongest record from the Hiramaku top area. He will be the Sekiwake West. I have no doubt about it for this coming Basho.
Yeah, Dad and I were debating about whether he would leapfrog Komusubi completely and go up there.
Yes, well, with 3
Three
Makekoshi.
Sanyaku dropping.
Yeah, three Sanyaku dropping because of Makekoshi.
Does
I
that
have
mean Hakuoho still might make Sanyaku?
here's what I think could happen, Matthew. Here's what I think could happen. Takayasu wins his last bout, finishes 7-8. Um,
No. He's not gonna hold on to it again. That's not happening.
yeah,
That's
well, the other strong contender is Takanosho finishing 12-3 at M7. So, boy, the game is going to be interesting. When you and I play Guess the Banzuke, it's going to be an interesting game.
Takayasu. He had a very fortunate set of circumstances that allowed him to hold on to Komosubi. I don't see it happening. It's both Sekiwake are dropping.
Yeah.
There's just no way that both of them drop out and he doesn't drop out either.
Well, he finished 7-8 and they finished 6-9.
Kishima maybe dropping
They could drop him
further than Takayasu, but I don't it's not happening. I don't see it happening. He was given one grace. He was given one grace period because 5 or 6 ranks below, no one else was high enough.
Well, let's get right into the Yokozuna showdown so we can get into the next topic. Well, Hoshoryu shows dominance against Onosato, and rather that Tachiai caught Onosato off balance. So Hoshoryu gets the win by Oshidashi, forces the playoff. Which I think sumo fans couldn't ask for anything better than that, obviously. And with that being said,
I really liked how they looked in the back. Mm-hmm. And I think I remember someone on Reddit talking about how, they're and then I kind of noticed this comparison. Hoshoryu and Onosato to me have demeanor similar to how Akebono and Takanohana had comparable demeanor as Yokozuna. Akebono was the more intense, laser focused one. Takanohana seemed a little bit more laid back. Not as laid back as Onosato, because Takanohana didn't smile as much. But to me, I think they have kind of a similar demeanor in that regard.
So anyway, with that being said, though, however, the this time in the playoff, Onosato gets a better Tachiai and forces Hoshoryu back. Now, they both go out. Onosato looks like he got the win against Hoshoryu. However, there was a monoi to determine it.
And the judges did not do the normal get up at their leisure. They were jumping up and running in there.
Well, with that being said, they upheld the Gyoji's decision. And I think looking at the replays, though, I think Hoshoryu was dead body. I think he was flying enough.
Yeah,
he was flying out.
Yeah, he was dead body.
Yeah. So with that being said, it's Onosato who gets his first Yusho as Yokozuna, his 5th overall. But again, though, I think the Yokozuna are back in form. I'm hoping that, there will be good things said about them at the next YDC meeting. But with that being said, though, Matthew, give us final thoughts because we're now on our timer that we need to go into the next topic.
Yeah, I'm liking how things are going. Both Hoshoryu came back and he came back hungry, and Onosato also is just like, I don't want to coast. So we're seeing what we're supposed to be seeing from 2 Yokozuna, 2 guys who are going in there trying to compete at their best and are physically healthy and they finished how they're supposed to. They finished number 1, number 2.
Right. Well, let's get right into One Piece then. We'll have to hurry this kind of a bit here. But with that being said, One Piece. So I'll skip the short story. Obviously, the world nobles are being evacuated by the Marines. And there's a few of the God Valley inhabitants trying to escape. Dragon is carrying both Shamrock and Shanks. However, he gets spotted by a God Knight, and her name is Saint Maffy of the Satchels family. So, obviously, again, the God Knights, they are something else. And she actually uses a laser beam to injure Dragon.
Right through
And
the right shoulder.
yeah. So with that being said, she thinks that she got him. However, she only sees him drop Shamrock, and he's going to be taken away by Maffey, although she gets cut up by one Edward Newgate. And what's funny about this is that Big Mom, Charlotte Linlin, is arguing with him because she thinks that he tried to kill her as well. Same thing also with Golden Lion Shiki. So obviously this whole rocks arguments going on is no change to that type of nature, right?
Yeah, in the meantime, there's some other pirates who got that open communique from
Morgan's.
no, Ginny.
Oh, okay, yeah. So with that being said, though, yeah, these other
And are
no-name
getting
pirates,
and are getting slaughtered by Shiki and the three of the four former emperors.
I'm wondering though if Shiki gets named an emperor at some point. Somehow he got the
There
throne.
was a theory that he might have actually been one of the emperors.
Maybe
Previous.
he got dethroned by Shanks. Maybe that might be a theory.
I don't think. I'm not gonna call anything yet.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, actually no. I don't think he was, because he was in prison before Shanks even had a crew.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he
you're
got
right.
in prison around the same time that Roger surrendered and then was subsequently executed.
Yeah.
So he might have been an emperor, but he wasn't dethroned before by Shanks.
So Maffey is going to take Shamrock away. Dragon is he's trying to find if he can rescue Shamrock. However, he finds Shanks. And then we've got big man himself, Monkey D. Garp.
and funny, Roger's like, Dad?
You mean Dragon?
Or Dragon.
Now here's the thing.
I don't know what the term, I don't know why in English the term Neptunians, have no idea what that's a reference to. Maybe if I saw the Japanese, I'd understand it more.
Here's one thing that is interesting is like Prime Garp would make Newgate, Linlin, and Kaido and Shiki all run. The fact
except for the fact that Kaido initially wanted to stand and fight, he was listening to the other three when they're saying run.
Yeah, that's really
that just goes to show Kaido's lack of self preservation instincts existed back then.
So Garp is unfazed when Linlin attacks him with Zeus and Prometheus. Maffey contacts someone.
I love how Garp says you call that fire couldn't cook prime rib. And she's like, oh gosh.
So Maffey contacts someone, and she is taking Shamrock, although there seems to be some confusion because she thinks it's only one kid. However, Dragon is taking Shanks with him. Let's see here. So the rest of the Rocks Pirates trying to rescue Shaki. And then this is where I think that Liam from Grand Line Review was saying that Sommers is becoming probably one of the most hated villains in One Piece.
He's a sadist. That dude is a sadist because he comes in, it is kind of funny. He goes and he's like, are you kidding me? You guys couldn't handle a woman with handcuffs, and she's just
because she knocked out all the Marines. So now he's getting ready to like torture and kill her, obviously.
And he specifically is gonna kill her to keep to demoralize the pirates, and then also to keep Garling from getting her. So he's a sadist. He is he's vindictive. He's all sorts of,
Evil.
yeah, he's just all sorts of negative emotions there.
So before we get into the climax, I do see that there is a panel where it looks like this might be one of the first times that Roger and Newgate clash, because we see Sword and Naginata crossing paths. So that's one thing. And so yes, Summers is getting ready to, obviously do his thing. However, we have one person saying, I'll put the flowers on your grave to send you off. Spider Lily Steel, so that sends Sommers through the wall, maybe a couple walls, because it is the Dark King, Silver's the GOAT, Rayleigh,
who one-shot Summers.
He says he's come to get her. Obviously, it is a very emotional reunion, but I think it looks like this is much to Roger and Scopper's chagrin.
Well,
Roger heartbroken.
Romantically, I'd say things worked out for those two. I mean, not as well for Roger as for Scopper, but things worked out for them.
Yep.
But yeah, it is one of those rare moments where you see an actual romantic moment in One Piece, which doesn't typically happen. Oda just hasn't paid that much attention to it because with all the screwed up family dynamics, you just don't see a whole lot of romance in One Piece. So it's like it's a rare situation where, yeah, it's Rayleigh's finally admitting his feelings for Shaki. So, and she's like, you came to save me.
Yep. So with that being said, we're gonna have to close out this episode. But yes, this closes what appears to be the saga to Shaki and Rayleigh. But
yeah, and a nice thing is the fact that the Roger Pirates accomplished their goal, but then it's like, what is still going to happen that things are going to get so bad that Roger and Garp are going to team up to take on Rocks.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for watching as always, and we will see you next time.